Hi, this is Les Levine, the self-proclaimed voice of truth and reason in Ohio sports. Here's some good news over the sports weekend for Northeastern Ohioans. The Indians are hot, and I don't care if they play the Tigers another 25 times this year. The Browns have finally put some people on the field. We'll wait and hear about Nick Chubb a little later today. Then there's an Ohio State team. Many expected them to be a national champion this year, but for reasons many of us don't understand, they won't even get a chance to go ahead and play. Go ahead, start explaining. I've got all day. We've got Doug Lesmerises here. More Sports and Les Levine is on the air. From the worldwide headquarters of More Sports and Les Levine, it's a Monday night, it's a brand new week. Good evening, everyone. Welcome once again to More Sports and Les Levine into its 25th season. In fact, it will be 25 coming up in the next 2 weeks. And we are powered by cleveland.com. Lots to talk about. We went so long without talking sports because there wasn't any. Now there's sports all over the place. Doug Lesmerises of cleveland.com and the Plain Dealer with us. Hello, Douglas. How are you?
Coincidentally, I also turned 25 in 2 weeks. So happy birthday.
You're into your 25th year. It's a little bit different. You know, this is the night, when I was younger, this is my favorite night of television.
Because your show is on?
No, almost. The Democratic and Republican national conventions were so fabulously entertaining when I was young. We had a guy, our first baseman, Johnny Cohout, used to, besides imitating the coaches and all that stuff, You'd watch the convention one night, and by noon, in alphabetical order, he would have everybody's speech down, perfect English, or, well, as perfect as those guys could be in those days. It was fabulous theater. Now it's too serious.
Yeah, no, it is great theater. I mean, I feel like politics has turned into theater in the wrong way in a lot of ways, but the convention should be fun, and it won't be quite the same, everybody being on Zoom.
Help me out here. I said in the open that for reasons I didn't understand and a lot of people don't understand, it looks like there won't be an Ohio State season. I think we do understand that. Give me a dummy's version of this whole thing. I'm the dummy here. Give me a minute or two of exactly what we're talking about, because frankly, every time I think I understand it, something else comes up.
So last Tuesday, the Big Ten presidents voted to cancel the fall football season. There are people now working on a plan to play either in January or February and March to try to have some Big Ten football, but not until 2021. The reason they canceled is they had health concern worries. Many people think that they jumped the gun a little bit. I don't think it's that it's the wrong decision. I think to just say it's the wrong decision, it's a pandemic. How can we say that being cautious with amateur athletes in a pandemic is the wrong decision? But they probably went early. Ohio State wished that the league just would have delayed everything for a little bit, gathered more information. For instance, news came out over the weekend about a saliva test that might make testing faster and easier. That would affect things like college football, in addition to everything in the country. And they communicated it terribly, basically by not communicating at all. Big Ten Commissioner Kevin Warren is in his first year on the job. He did an interview with Big Ten Network the day they announced it. He has not been very public since then. And as a result, players, parents, coaches of the biggest football programs have complained loudly and longly about this decision. And the Big Ten has been silent, and they are losing the PR war. And when you have this many parents and players and coaches in your own conference publicly questioning your decision-making, that is not a good look. So it doesn't mean that everybody should play football this fall. We don't know that right now, but I think they might have gone quickly, and they certainly handled the communication poorly.
All right, in a minute, I want to get out to what's going on in Berea. Nick Chubb being evaluated, hit above the neck apparently by Mack Wilson, the linebacker. We'll talk about that in a moment. But Doug, in almost all things, the way they go now, you look for the money, you follow the money trail, and that's where something will end up. This goes both ways. This isn't just where one person or one group is going to make money. Almost everybody can, and almost everybody can lose money. So where does that stand?
I mean, they punted money, right? I mean, not playing football, even if the crowds were non-existent or much smaller, the TV revenue is a huge deal to these athletic departments. And by not playing this fall, you're certainly sacrificing that. Even if you play, I think in January, February, March, it won't be the same. But there is a liability issue here that a lot of people have brought up. Because there's not a players association or a union in college football, there is not a way for the players and the leagues and the NCAA and the school presidents to share the risk. So I think the schools were worried about health and safety, but I also think they were a little worried, at least, about what if something goes wrong with the player and then that player sues us. And they just don't have a way to talk to each other because the system is so screwed up. They can't talk about it and share the risk and come to a resolution. And so I think perhaps the resolution then is, let's just not play this fall.
Is it as clear as one side needs to take money away from this and the other side shouldn't, or the other side can't? Or am I making it too simple? Am I simplifying it too much?
Well, I mean, the players don't get paid in college football. So it's funny that the players, the ones who don't get paid, are being very vocal about, we want to play. And the schools who do make all the money are saying, no, we're canceling for the fall. So I don't disagree that following the money trail is the right thing to do in most situations. And the liability does come into play here, but it is different than a lot of other situations because college sports don't listen to players. They don't listen to players. But right now, what the players are saying is, we want to be safe. We want the protocols to be uniform across the board, but we want to play. And the Big Ten and the Pac-12, who would make millions and millions in dollars off this, said, no, we're not playing football this fall.
They're afraid of the litigation, obviously. 216-575-0403 is the number to call. Doug Lesmerises is here. You can reach us on email at reallesslevine@gmail.com. All right, news out of Berea breaking within the last hour or two. Nick Chubb, expected to be all-world, right now is being evaluated for a concussion after being tackled high by Mack Wilson. Joe Woods, the defensive coordinator, very upset at Wilson, at least seemingly from reports that we got. This is not good. And you go to Kevin's, you go around to the new coaches and say, "Welcome to the NFL."
Well, and I wasn't there. We have our great cleveland.com team that is out of Browns practice, Mary Kay Cabot, Dan Lobby, and everybody else. So I didn't see it. I wasn't part of it, but part of this, it's just hard. Not all we've talked about. We keep talking about the linebackers so much. I've been asked on this show various times. I've been asked on podcasts, what's up with the linebackers? I know Mack Wilson talked about it, I guess, yesterday. They want to prove that they are a good linebacker unit. Someone ranked them the worst linebacker unit in the Big Ten. So you get a second-year guy all jacked up, and he goes out and tackles the best running back on the team in a way that was unnecessary. And it's just, you can't prove to the world that the linebackers are good in the first couple days of padded practice by tackling your own dude. So, I mean, it's unfortunate, but just young football players who are trying to prove something, sometimes that can be a dangerous combination.
Makes me think of LaCharles Bentley. First practice out of the chute out of Berea, and his career ended as a result of that. How much? Well, it's way too early, I guess, to be concerned about it, but there's got to be contingency plans, and what are they?
The best backup running back in the NFL.
Yeah. That's good.
Is there someone better? Does anyone else have a former rushing champion as their backup running back?
No, if you're going to have to go to your number 2 guy, he's the guy you want to go to. But
so, it's crazy. Of course, Nick Chubb is vitally important to this team. And again, Mary Kay Cabot reporting, people saying he's being evaluated for a concussion. So, unfortunately, concussions are a regular part of football. Sure. So we're not talking about something that is season ending or anything like people are talking. That's not where we are right now. But
216. Go ahead.
No, Kareem Hunt. What better backup running back could you ask for than Kareem Hunt?
No, actually, not just a running back, but you get him out of the backfield with the passing game too. So that makes it even tougher for some of these defensive people to figure out. 216-575-0403 is the number to call. You can email us during the show at reallesslevine@gmail.com. Doug Lesmerises does a tremendous job for cleveland.com and the Plain Dealer. Doug, as you get ready, we went for so long without sports for any reason at all, and then all of a sudden you got you got baseball, you got stories about baseball, you got stories about Indians pitchers, you got all kinds of things going on. We went from nothing to something really quick. And even I haven't watched a minute of the NBA, nor do I plan to, but people who do like it watch it and say this is well worth watching.
Well, and what's so interesting about the bubbles with the NBA and the NHL, you have games all day. Now that the NBA playoffs are starting, you're going to have 4 games every day. And the world where we all, everyone's staying up super late, stuff's going till 1 a.m. on the East Coast, things are played at the same time. They have 4 time slots through the course of the day. I mean, it's a smorgasbord, and it's a great opportunity to really get people back involved. And I don't pay strict attention to the NBA every day either, but these playoff matchups are really interesting. I want to check in on these things.
Yeah, they are interesting, but it doesn't look like an NBA game. It doesn't look like an NBA playoff game. It doesn't look like anything we've ever seen before, except maybe David Blatt with European basketball.
It is interesting. I think people have different views on how important fans are to the sporting experience in this country, right? Being there, that's one thing. But even just watching on TV, do you care if there are other people in the stands there watching the game? I actually think it's fine, right? I mean, the dudes who do the crazy stuff on the court, they're the same. So, if there's not as much yelling in the crowd or that kind of thing, I'm okay with it. And I think the way the NBA has done it, it just has worked out, I think, even better than anybody expected. Everybody I know was hanging on every basket of that Memphis-Portland play-in game the other day. So we've talked about this all along the way, Les. I think there are things that we're learning in a pandemic that might even apply outside the pandemic. Yeah. And I wouldn't be surprised if the NBA goes to an 8-9 play-in game in the playoffs because everybody loved that the other day.
Great point. No question about that. I'm finding it interesting in baseball, watching the games, that either I'm just so used to the ambient crowd noise or whatever kind of crowd noise that is. They've really done a good job with that. You don't really know that there are 20 people in the stands at times.
Yeah, I mean, I would think baseball's a little harder just because the game is slower, right? But I mean, it's I think anybody will take anything right now. So, I don't think we don't want to live in a world where we are playing in empty baseball stadiums from now on. But it is funny. I mean, it's a digital world. I mean, there's robots all over the place. Like fake crowd noise, fake fans in the stands, whatever. I mean, this is the world now, Les. So, but I do want real people back at baseball.
Let's talk baseball for a minute, because the Indians, if you check the standings after a 3-game rout of Detroit, Indians now just 1 game off first place behind the Minnesota Twins, and I believe they have the 3rd best record in the American League. What do you make of this whole thing? What do you make of what happened last weekend with the pitchers? What's going on here?
Well, they're pitching so good. They're hitting. You hope heats up a little bit. This is a great test for Terry Francona. I mean, it's where I've been writing and talking so much about what's going to happen in college sports and trying to keep, college kids in a bubble, or what are you going to stop them from going out and getting it? And then you have professional baseball players being irresponsible. I mean, it is not a small deal. And in my daily life, I'm keeping a ledger, man. I'm keeping a ledger of the people that I know who are around me, who I feel like aren't behaving responsibly during the pandemic. And I'm not sure I'm going to forgive them. This is when you find out who people really are. So this is not just like a little tiny thing. This shows who people are. Do they care about other people besides themselves? Can they follow rules? Are they mature and responsible? Are they truthful? Man, this is something that doesn't go away.
We're talking about Plesac and Clevinger. Have you ever seen, in following sports, have you ever seen anything like that where teammates are saying, we don't want to play with those guys?
Oh, I mean, I'm sure it happens, right? I mean, there have been ding-a-lings in professional sports in the past, so it's not unprecedented from that standpoint. But I'm glad that other Indians players were willing to stand up and do that, because very seldom in life do the decisions of other teammates potentially affect your health, potentially affect your safety, potentially affect real life things. Most of the time, it's like, oh, that guy didn't take care of business and we lost the game because of it. So And being young is not an excuse, right? I mean, you are at work, you're at a professional, and if somebody that I worked with did that, I would have a very hard time getting over.
Yeah, because everybody took such care in making that decision with their families and all, and then a couple of guys come out and blow it for you. And then the thought that Francona's in his 60s, and they had Brad Mills at the time, and they had a couple of other elderly guys, and just that they paid no attention to it. That bothers me a little bit. I mean, I think I could understand if they just said we're not playing and everybody goes home, but there was a conscious decision to play under these circumstances.
Carlos Carrasco has health issues.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's in a situation with those guys.
All right,
so it's so irresponsible.
Doug Lesmerises is with us. We're going to take a break. We'll come on back. You can follow us on Facebook, facebook.com/More Sports and Less Levine, with new content posted each and every day. It's simple. We give you a question in the morning. You answer it anytime during the day. We air it on the show from 6 until 7 p.m. Pretty easy to do. We are powered by cleveland.com. More Sports and Less Levine continues with Doug Lesmerises right here on cleveland.com.
Presque Isle Downs and Casino has sports betting. Use one of our 50 state-of-the-art Bet America kiosks to place your bet and watch your favorite games on one of our many HD televisions, or visit our sportsbook area. Only at Presque Isle Downs and Casino.
Do you like Ohio State football? Would you like to get information from me, Doug Lesmerises, about Ohio State football without having to look at my face? We have got the plan for you. Become an Ohio State text subscriber through cleveland.com. You send a text, 614-350-3315. What do you get? 2, 3, 4 texts right in your phone every day about Ohio State football. Inside information, polls, voting, all kinds of things. You can be on our podcast. We take text subscriber questions on our Buckeye Talk podcast every week. If you really want to be involved with Ohio State football, in season or out of season, become an Ohio State text subscriber from cleveland.com. Send a text to 614-350-3315. 14-day free trial. What do you have to lose? $3.99 a month after that. 614-350-3315. I'll see you in your phone.
Tri-C is here for you. Now more than ever, you need a post-secondary education. So I encourage you to start your journey here at Tri-C. The majority of fall classes will take place online, but we've added a variety of formats to meet your learning needs, and we've taken many steps to keep you safe on campus. Whether you're ready to get started or your four-year plans have changed, Tri-C is where futures begin.
The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education program recognizes role model students and teachers from across Ohio. Nominations can now be done completely online. To nominate a deserving teacher or student, go to ohiolottery.com. In the About section, find Partners in Education. There you will find links to the nomination forms. Students kindergarten through 12th grade can be academic all-stars. Teachers can be honored as a Teacher of the Month. The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education, where stars shine.
Obviously, it's a great opportunity to get thrown in the fire. I mean, that's how you learn the best. That's how you get the best reps. It's going against the, ones-on-ones, So I'm definitely fortunate enough to have the opportunity to just get my feet wet and get out there with the guys. And, as for me, I mean, it's nothing like this whole process isn't new. Going into college, I kind of was thrown into the fire too as a true freshman. So I know how to handle these situations. You're going to make mistakes. Just minimizing those mistakes being made, learning from, the guys around you that have played a little bit. And then at the end of the day, just playing fast. If you mess up playing fast, it's at least you're showing that you care about what you're doing. So that's kind of the mindset I have going about training camp so far.
I see Nick as all our rookies out there. These guys are getting challenged every day physically by some pretty good players, some pretty good veterans. and we're throwing a lot at them. We're in an installation schedule, so every day they're getting plays that they're going to be required to run that day. Not that they're hearing them for the first time; they're hearing them for the. But there's a lot going on with these guys. So there's every single one of these rookies at some point, you're going to see them maybe slow down their play because they're thinking. And that's where the next couple of weeks come into play, where you get to play and keep playing and getting rep after rep, and hopefully starts to click and they get to play fast. Unfortunately, injuries are part of this game, and it's the oldest cliche in the book, but next man up, and I think Nick is ready to roll.
Well, that was before J.C. Tretter and his injury. Do you see there's any karma here? J.C. becomes the head of the Players Association, and next thing you know, he's injured. Think there's anything to that?
I hope not.
Not here in America. No, it wouldn't happen at all. So that was Nick Harris, who will get the first shot at that center position after Tretter undergoes the knee procedure. Miles Garrett didn't show up also. Is that a concern to you, or is that part of what the execution of the plan was?
Oh, I froze up for a second there, Les. I think you asked about Miles Garrett. I mean, I am hyper about Miles Garrett because it felt like when he was gone after the suspension at the end of last season, like it just sucked the life out of the team. And so, you're not going to be worried about a minor thing early in training camp. Assume this guy's going to be fine. But boy, oh boy, even before the new contract and everything else, and that he's looking like he's going to be a guy who defines a generation of football fans here in Cleveland. I think we saw the end of last year just, oh man, this guy just makes everything go on defense, even if he's not making plays himself every snap. So, I'm whatever. Couple missed practices early is no big deal, but I am hyper aware that they need Miles Garrett a lot.
All right, with Miles Garrett being a key guy in your mind, who else? Name 2 or 3 other guys that have to perform at their level or better than their level for this team to be successful.
I mean, I think Olivier Vernon as a bookend to Miles Garrett. So that's, I think, when you get the pass rush really working, when you have multiple guys that might require double teams or the teams have to pay attention to. Just with Vernon missing some games last year and then Garrett getting suspended, it felt like they weren't able to do that all that much. I think Greedy Williams is really important, making that leap from rookie year to second year at corner because that pass rush and the coverage ties so well together. And then, Jedrick Wills, 10th pick in the draft, moving from the right side to the left side. I've said a million times, I think Baker Mayfield didn't believe in his line last year, and I think that affected his play. You figure Jack Conklin's going to hold it down on the right side with that contract he has. So, a rookie, pick that high, making a switch. It's not going to be instantaneous, but I think Baker Mayfield needs to believe in him pretty quickly, and that'll help Baker be big.
Is it fair to say that if you take a look at the offensive lines in the NFL, that it's really impossible to have people across the board 1 through 5 as starters to be that good? You almost have to work in extra guys. Is that how you see it?
Yeah, I don't know you expect to go 5 for 5, but you probably better go 4 for 5 on guys you really believe in, and then you can maybe patch it together a little bit. So I think that was the issue last year, is that there was a lot of times I think they were 2 for 5 on who they really believed in. And that was Bitonio and Tretter, and there were too many questions everywhere else. So you know what? I mean, Wyatt Teller, he is okay at right guard. He doesn't have to be an all-pro for them to be good, but Conklin and Wills, I mean, they've got to be good because it obviously affects the run game, but it's just, I mean, it's psychological for the quarterback. Obviously, it's actually also true because if you're on your back or getting pressured all the time, you can't make the throws you need to make. But I just think the tackles blew up last year, and so if they can go at least 4 for 5 and guys they really believe in on the offensive line, I think that'll be okay.
Doug Lesmerises here. He is powered by cleveland.com. Our Facebook question of the day: what about the 2020 Browns excites you? Glenn Berger says the offense under Kevin Stefanski, the Browns appear to have a lot of weapons on offense. 2 effective running backs in Chubb and Hunt, 2 very good receivers in Beckham and Landry, and options at the tight end position now with Hooper, which gives Mayfield a variety of offensive plans to keep the defense off the balance. Josh Woodward says, I think it has to be Kevin Stefanski and Andrew Berry. Honestly, we've been through this all with plenty of regimes, and here and there, and they seem different by far. This group seems different. They've made significant smart signings while maintaining the confidence that the younger talent will still have lots of cap space and plenty of whatever they plan. So we will see. We're going to take a break. We'll come on back in a moment. Doug Lesmerises is here. More Sports and Less Levine is powered by cleveland.com.
Wow, get Nature's Stone and never replace your garage flooring again. Act now for huge summer savings on our exclusive Nature's Blend Stone, as low as $2.99 a square foot plus installation. Only Nature's Stone eliminates cracked, uneven concrete, and Nature's Stone never peels like cheap paints and coatings. Safe, beautiful garage flooring that's always backed by Russell's Promise, our true unconditional warranty. Schedule your free cost estimate easily online today at naturestone.com. It's not just a floor. Wow, it's Nature's Stone.
There are tastes we remember. Every smell brings the happiness of times gone by. Experience this every time you walk into Gallucci's Italian Foods. Whether you need lunch on the go, a catered party, or that perfect blend of wine, meats, and cheeses, Gallucci's has exactly what you're looking for. Straight from Mama's kitchen for old world traditions or original experiences. From the tastes you remember to new flavors you'll never forget. Gallucci's is a tasty branch of your family tree.
When it comes to selling you a mattress, most retailers are handing you a long line of extra steps that drive up costs and create confusion. At the Original Mattress Factory, we simplify the mattress shopping experience by building mattresses and box springs in our own local factories and selling them direct to you. It's short, sweet, and simply makes sense. So experience more than just the mattress store. Experience an original, the Original Mattress Factory.
Hi, welcome back to More Sports and Less Levine. Les and Doug, this is Brian in the control room. We've talked about it a number of times. Baker Mayfield completely underwhelmed in 2019. But let's take a look at this from a different perspective. A reason why Baker Mayfield is projected to bounce back in 2020. He regressed as a sophomore, throwing 22 touchdowns, 21 interceptions. But if you look exclusively at the second half of 2019, he did much better. He threw 18 touchdowns and only 9 interceptions, and his completion percentage went up. If you look at that alone, this explains how possibly Baker Mayfield is projected to do better in 2020 and have bounce back year under new coach Kevin Stefanski.
All right. First of all, Doug Lesmerises, is that what you pictured the control room to look like here at More Sports and Less Levine?
It was much more high tech than I anticipated. I thought it might be a hamster on a wheel and a piece of string, but that looked pretty high tech.
Pretty high tech stuff. All right, I might be the only guy who believes this because as the season has worn off, or since the season has ended, everybody has made Baker Mayfield's 2019 year to be the worst in the history of mankind. I didn't think his second half was as bad as they made it out to be, but as long as you're going to blame Freddie Kitchens for stuff, you got to blame Baker Mayfield also. So where do you come down on that? His finish of last year and where you expect him to be this year?
Well, he wasn't throwing goal line passes to Antonio Callaway in the second half of last year, right? So that was better. Antonio Callaway is not going to be here to turn touchdowns into interceptions this year. I mean, we did go over it last year. He had a lot of goofy interceptions early on last year, and there was a lot going wrong that I think in the end the stats made him look worse than he actually was. Now, he also didn't look comfortable, but was a new head coach. There were obviously issues with the play calling. He had never worked with Odell Beckham Jr. before, and Odell didn't play at all in the preseason. I think that was a huge deal. And we can't forget that Kareem Hunt didn't play in the first half of last year. And sometimes when Kareem Hunt's part of your offense, it makes everybody look better. So, I mean, there's a gajillion reasons to think that Baker Mayfield is going to be in a better place now. Now, again, we can't forget, it is a new head coach. It is a new play caller. It is a new quarterbacks coach. And they haven't been able to work together. I mean, I'm not expecting magic from week one with Baker Mayfield, but I do think it's a big deal that he and Odell are going to be in a better place. Now, again, he hasn't thrown to Austin Hooper, so that's a new toy on the offense for him. But there's reasons in the second half. There's just a lot of of reasons of him being more comfortable that I think were happening in the second half last year and should carry over now.
Actually, if you're going to have, in your first 2 years, you're going to have a bad year and a good year, I think you'd rather have the good year in the second year. First year, you get cocky off that. Second year, you realize if you have a bad year, you realize what you have to do to overcome it. I'm actually very optimistic about what Baker Mayfield is going to be able to do this year. And a lot of it lends itself to the weapons he's going to have on the side.
So, two things. I agree with the Facebook poster who said the thing they're most excited about is the weapons. Odell Beckham makes a lot of money. Is he a long-term Brown? I don't know. Jarvis Landry makes a lot of money. Is he going to be here for years to come? I don't know. Nick Chubb's going to have a huge payday coming after his rookie deal expires. Will the Browns give it to him? I don't know. Kareem Hunt, is he going to be a backup here for long? I don't know. I don't know when Baker Mayfield's again going to have skill guys this good around, right? There's a lot of things that came together to give him these guys in this year. This is not, if Baker Mayfield's here for 10 more years, this is not what the skill guys are going to look like every year. So you cannot underestimate or overestimate. Just make sure your estimation is right, how important and how good these skill guys are. And the other thing is, I wrote about this last year, the history of good quarterbacks in the NFL, a boatload of them had bad second years. A million guys. It happens. What you said, Les, you're good early, you're good as a rookie, you get a little cocky, the league figures you out, you have a bad second year, and in year 3 you bounce back. It's totally normal. I think Tom Brady did it. Brett Favre did it. Go find my story. It's part of the maturation process for a lot of quarterbacks that end up very good.
You know what so many of us forget, and I'm guilty of this here, and I don't know that you are or not, but when you draft a guy number 1, whether it's in the first round or the number 1 pick in the draft, you are not picking him for the next Sunday's game. You're picking him for the next 8 to 10 years. That's what you have to be looking at, and you make a great point. If you project down the road, Baker Mayfield's never going to have, in Cleveland, Baker Mayfield's never going to have a better surrounding cast.
No, but you're, I quibble a little bit with that, Les. The difference between being the overall number 1 pick and just a first rounder, I do think is a big deal because Brandon Weeden and Johnny Manziel and Brady Quinn and everybody else, they didn't get 3 or 4 years of just work on it, figure it out. It does take being, I think, a top 5 pick to get a team to have that faith in you, to live with the mistakes, to live through the rough patches. And I think if you can do it, part of the issue with the Browns is they were picking quarterbacks in the 20s in the first round. And when you're picked in the 20s, it doesn't automatically come with patience. If you're the overall number 1 pick and your team bails on you after 2 years, your team is nuts. So the Browns have to be patient with Baker Mayfield. And that's a good thing. It's a good thing for him. It's a good thing for the Browns. And I think that part of what you get when you take a quarterback with the number 1 overall pick, and I think that's a benefit. You must have patience.
I shouldn't be able to walk into the quarterback room and as camp starts and say, Weeden, no, Johnny Manziel, no. I shouldn't be able to tell better than these quarterback coaches and the scouts as to who's going to succeed and who isn't. Who didn't look at Weeden? Who didn't look at Manziel and say these guys can't play? Everybody said they couldn't play, except the guys who made the picks.
And it's just hard. I mean, right? Sometimes when you're picking a guy that late, it's sort of like, well, we like this guy, but who else got picked? They fell to us. Oh, we didn't think Brady Quinn was going to be here this late. When you pick a guy number 1 overall, that is your guy. And that's him with some confidence, but there's also no doubt about, oh, well, if this other guy would have been there, they would have taken him. They picked Baker Mayfield out of anybody else, and you got to give him a long 4-year look at the very least, or it was a wasted pick. If you bail on him any sooner than 4 full years, you're doing it wrong.
Well, John Dorsey, I thought, made a good move, at least publicly, by saying his entire front office was behind the pick of Baker Mayfield. And I think that was part of the plan, even if you don't, get on board, even if you don't believe it, and they all did.
And I think right now, and we've talked about this before, I think Baker fits a lot of the more analytical models that you would believe if Andrew Berry had made that pick, he might have picked.
Yeah.
But I think he would have. I think Sashi Brown would have picked Baker Mayfield. Now, if John Dorsey had picked Josh Allen, who's 6'6" and can throw it through a wall, and is a very good athlete, has good attributes, but I don't think has the accuracy, and I don't think has the long-term future of Baker. And then Andrew Berry comes into that, then I think you'd be stuck in a situation of, well, does this guy fit the model of the new coach and the new GM? But I actually think what Dorsey did also fits the people in charge now, which again only hammers home why Baker has to be your guy.
216-575-0403 is the number to call. Doug Lesmerises, powered by cleveland.com and the Plain Dealer. Coming up on September 13th, that's a Sunday. It's the night the Browns play the Ravens. It won't be any conflict here, but for those interested, we got a great thing coming up for people with Parkinson's and their families and their support group. And I've got a team. It's Moving More with Less. If you'd like to chip in $2, $5, $20, anything, or just be there, or just send us a note, that would be terrific. And again, the team name is Moving More with Less, and you can find out more about it by going to events.beinmotion.org. Events.beinmotion.org. You'll find out more information. We'll take a break. We'll come back in a moment. Doug Lesmerises with us. More sports and less Levine, powered by cleveland.com.
We're living in uncertain times, but you don't have to put your future on hold. At Tri-C, you can move ahead while staying safe and saving money. The majority of fall classes will take place online, but we've added a variety of formats to meet your learning needs, and we've taken many steps to keep you safe on campus. Whether you're ready to get started or your four-year plans have changed, check out Tri-C's programs and resources, because Tri-C is where futures begin.
Well, hello, everyone. Let me tell you a little bit about Browns Football Insider. For only $3.99 a month, you can get text sent right to your phone each day from me, Dan Lobby, Scott Pasco, and Ellis Williams. In addition to that, you'll receive a Football Insider newsletter every day with special things from us, things that you won't see anywhere else on the site. You'll get breaking news, analysis, features, film breakdown, and things like that. Texting us directly gives you a great chance to cut through the clutter of Facebook, Twitter, other social media, and avoid the trolls. Also, it's the only way to get your questions on the Orange and Brown Talk podcast. So why should you sign up? Try a 14-day free trial. You can cancel at any time. All it takes is one text, but you won't want to cancel. We have hundreds of subscribers join us over the last year. They love it and have stayed with us. We're seeing the Football Insider community grow every week. And it's only $3.99 a month, which is less than 14 cents a day. What I like most about Football Insider is the opportunity to connect with you one-on-one and really communicate with you. So how can you become a Football Insider? You can click on cleveland.com/Browns, the blue banner at the top of the page. Or easier yet, text me at 216-208-3965. Again, that's 216-208-3965.
It takes attention to detail. With your local Bryant dealer, you're getting more than just a technician. You're getting someone who pays attention to your needs and the little things that make a big difference. It takes a dealer you can rely on. And to keep your family warm this winter,
here, let me show you how this works.
It takes Bryant.
Bryant. Whatever it takes.
And to keep your family comfortable, it takes Smiley One Heating and Cooling. Find them at smiley1.com.
Brian's all by himself. Got to turn something on. There you go. Go ahead,
Hello,
Brian.
Les. Hello, Doug. This is Brian in the control room. Les, Doug, you alluded to this earlier. Mike Clevinger and Zach Plesac, they create a lot of dysfunction in the Indians locker room. People were not happy with what they did, with them breaking safety protocol. They were even unhappier with how they handled it after they broke protocol by not coming clean. Les, Doug, ESPN's Jeff Passan wrote about this. Players and their team meeting on Friday in Detroit, they threatened, including at least Oliver Perez, he wanted to opt out if Clevinger and Plesac remained on the team. So Les, Doug, a situation arises. What do you do with Clevinger and Plesac right now?
Well, they did what they're supposed to do right now. And then see how the team goes in the next week or two, and then make some kind of a decision. You know, it's like the Jordan rules. Michael Jordan's better than everybody else. If he does something wrong, he gets treated better than different than somebody else. Plesac and Clevinger aren't at that position right now. But I thought it was interesting that the veteran Perez made that demand, because players usually don't go against their fellow teammates, and they also aren't privy or shouldn't be privy to contract negotiations and things like that are available when that information gets out. Doug, what do you think?
You know, part of me wonders, Les, if these guys had been the Indians' two best players, if anything really would have been different. I mean, Michael Jordan broke the pandemic rules and lied to his teammates about it. Would it be different? I mean, this is the most serious that sports has been. I mean, how often can your actions potentially threaten the health of your teammates?
Life and death information.
Yeah. So I mean, that's just a different deal. And so I think part of this is going to have to be that Terry Francona, when decisions, and Chris Antonetti, and when they make decisions about these guys, they're going to have the teammates involved. And not that they aren't a lot of the time anyway. I think Terry Francona does a really good job. Everybody does.
You mean the teammates like Oliver? You mean like Oliver Perez and guys like that?
I mean, I think you have to bring it to the team and say, this is what we're thinking. We're thinking of bringing these guys back. What do you think? Are you comfortable with it? What would you like to see them do? Right? Not that you're not. I think they have to make amends in some way, and I don't know what that is. But this is not. This is an issue that affects the clubhouse, because it affects the health and well-being of the guys in that clubhouse. So I don't think this be a decision that Antonetti and Francona make. I think they were smart to have the input of the teammates before, and I think before those guys come back, I think they need the input of the teammates again.
Yeah, you got Chris Antonetti, who's been with the team forever, and I don't think, just off the top of my head, I can't think of any situation that he's had to make a decision based on disrupting the team or disrupting players. They go about getting pretty good guys, so they've never had that problem, but they've got one right now. What was interesting that Zach Plesac's uncle, Dan Plesac, long major league career, I think 12 years. The morning of that event in Chicago, he had been interviewed by USA Today, saying how his nephew is old school and he understands all the rules and everything else. In the meantime, that night, that's when it all came down. It's just kind of interesting. But it's also interesting that Perez, who's a longtime veteran in the majors, would have made that statement also.
And it is interesting, and I think Jeff Passan brought this up in the piece. They're probably not the only guys in Major League Baseball who have done something like this, right? So they got caught. It's very public. It needs to be handled. But I don't think this is the only time or will be the last time that Major League teams have to deal with this. And listen, you know, the NBA had this. The NBA had a guy leave the bubble for a reason. So it's not unprecedented. But I think those guys made it worse, just like we talked about with the Big Ten. It's just like in life, Les. It's not the crime, it's the cover-up. People make mistakes, but if you try to lie about it, try to make excuses for it,
you always get caught. Nobody's a good enough liar to get away with it, I don't think.
I'm a very good liar. I can get away with it. But unless you're as good of a liar as me, you're in trouble.
All right, well, you mentioned Jeff Passan. Jeff, of course, from Seoul, and his father, Rich Passan, used to write for the Plain Dealer. Passan the puck, following the Cleveland Barons hockey team. 216-575-0403 is the number. One of the things that's concerned me about the performance on the field, well, nothing about the pitching. Give me that pitching all day long. But the problem is that the second part of the lineup is not doing anything, which means the transition from the first part to the second is getting all messed up, and the Indians dealt with that today. Oscar Mercado had been a problem, but you know what? They don't have time to wait around, Doug. You just don't have time. You got to do it right when you can, and Mercado is optioned to the team's alternate trading site. And so far in this 2020 season, in 17 games, 5 hits in 45 at-bats, a 111 batting average, a 167 on-base percentage, and 14 strikeouts. It also seemed to me he wasn't playing that well defensively. I think he made all the plays, but he just looked different. How do you account for that?
He has 5 hits. He has 5 hits.
When Brian wasn't doing stuff with the sofa back there, he was collecting the averages, and that's what he's got: 5 hits and 45 at bats.
I didn't realize it was that bad. Listen, I think this is a big test. I think we talked about it before they came back. Terry Francona is a loyal guy, right? Oscar Mercado is a guy that maybe this organization thinks is going to be a part of their plan for quite some time. But you cannot wait. You cannot wait. And I thought when I predicted what they would do when we wrote about it before the start, I can't remember the record I predicted, but I thought they'd be pretty good. And I thought there was a chance that maybe you just let Lindor and Ramirez and Santana get hot and let those guys carry them, and that you don't have to worry about the bottom half of the lineup. You have a couple 3 all-stars at the top and great pitching, and that's enough. But you know, when those guys aren't sizzling hot, we've seen this over the years with the Indians. You get to a spot where you're running through a couple innings with some pretty automatic outs, and that's difficult. So it's amazing that pitching has kept them in it, but I'm still waiting and wondering if we get to September or mid-August and Francisco Lindor and Jose Ramirez go bonkers together and then can carry everybody else on the offense.
On this team, what is Francisco Lindor? Is he a leadoff man? Is he a number 4 guy? What is he on this team ideally?
I think in this team, I don't think he can be the leadoff guy. I think he's got to be making some stuff happen. Maybe 2, 3, probably. You know, I think you'd love to have it be. I mean, he'd be. And I know a lot of teams put their best hitter in a leadoff spot, but I just think there's not enough. There's not enough. The bottom of that lineup would move up another spot if you move up Lindor too high. So I think you've got to keep him third. You'd love to live in a world where he could be your leadoff guy. I just don't think they have the depth of the lineup to do it.
How about the hitting of Reyes? This guy is unbelievable.
Well, I mean, that's the hope, right? That's why you bring in a guy like this. Young power is a blessed event in baseball. And so to wind up with a guy like that, you just hope it's consistent enough. But again, a guy with that much raw power, if he gets hot, he can carry you for a week. So, I mean, they have a couple dudes who can do it, but it's just a matter of can they get hot together?
216-575-0403 is the number to call. Northeast Factory Direct, 3 locations plus a great website. Check them out. Guaranteed lowest price, guaranteed. That's at any of the 3 locations. West 140th in Cleveland near the airport, Lakeland Boulevard, and Freeway Drive. That is in Macedonia. We'll come back in a moment with Doug Lesmerises. More sports and less Levine, powered by cleveland.com.
Never replace your basement flooring again. Act now for huge summer savings on our exclusive Nature's Pearl Stone, as low as $2.99 a square foot plus installation. Schedule your free cost estimate easily online today. It's not just a floor.
Wow, it's Nature's Stone.
When it comes to selling you a mattress, most retailers are handing you a long line of extra steps that drive up costs and create confusion. At the Original Mattress Factory, we simplify the mattress shopping experience by building mattresses and box springs in our own local factories and selling them direct to you. It's short, sweet, and simply makes sense. So experience more than just a mattress store. Experience an original, the Original Mattress Factory.
Presque Isle Downs and Casino has sports betting. Use one of our 50 state-of-the-art Bet America kiosks to place your bet and watch your favorite games on one of our many HD televisions, or visit our sportsbook area. Only at Presque Isle Downs and Casino.
This day in sports history brought to you by Smiley One Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing. This date in history 100 years ago. Ray Chapman, the Indian shortstop, a good column today by Terry Pluto. Ray Chapman dies the day after getting hit in the head by a pitch thrown by the spitballer, Carl Mays, who was not liked before this incident. 216-575-0403. Let's check birthdays for today. And you've got the Boog. Look at that uniform. Boog Powell, first baseman for the Orioles, then the Indians. Dust in the Wind. That's all I'm saying. John Gruden, Jorge Posada, Dustin Pedroia, and Jack Conklin, now with the Cleveland Browns, all celebrating birthdays today. Doug Lesmerises is with us. A couple of questions that have come in on email, Doug. Justin Fields sent out a petition through the social media account to ask for signatures supporting a fall season. What do you make of that?
Got a lot of signatures. I think it's over 200,000, maybe over 250,000 right now. But people have been talking about it a lot. I think some media have overcovered it because if I'm Kevin Warren, the Big Ten commissioner, who has not been doing a very good job communicating through this, I'm not sure why I would care about the online signatures of 250,000 strangers. I would care about what my coaches think, what my players think, and what the parents of my players think. So I think it shows something about Justin Fields. I think it shows that he cares about Ohio State football. I think it shows that he's a leader. He's been praised by Ryan Day, been praised by A.D. Smith for doing this. He's still locked in. He's not off to the NFL yet. So from that standpoint, yes, I think it's really interesting. And it's a player trying to do something. From the actual standpoint of, is it going to change the Big Ten's decision? No. I mean, what the players and coaches think, that's going to affect Kevin Warren. But
are you surprised that somebody? Are you surprised somebody with what Justin Fields has here? Are you surprised that he would come out like that based on what he's got facing him, good and bad?
No. I think it's good for him to do this. I think when we talked to him when they announced he's one of the 7 captains for this year, and we talked to him, he just seemed a little more assured, a little more, at ease with himself. This is what happens with guys. They get comfortable, they become more of a leader. And some people, some people have said he really needs this season to prove something to the NFL. No, he doesn't. I mean, it would help him. He might win the Heisman. He wants to play. He wants to find a way to play, I think. But he showed enough last year. He's a top 5 pick, probably the number 2 pick behind Trevor Lawrence, and he might compete to be the number 1 pick. So he's fine. He's really good. And I think he's going to be good in the NFL. But he wants to play.
As we had 3 practices, and we're going to be talking next year's draft already. How would the cancellation of college football impact the 2021 NFL draft? The Browns will have 10 picks in that draft, by the way. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think it helps smart teams, right? The decision-making process gets harder. It hurts guys who are going to have breakout years, who are going to, rise up the draft board. Joe Burrow has tweeted that out. If he didn't play his last season, he certainly wouldn't have been the number 1 overall pick in the draft. He probably would have been like a 3rd or 4th rounder. So that hurts those guys for sure. I think it might lead people more towards analytics a little bit as they try to analyze guys. So that might help the Browns. They're going to only have to look at 2019 film. But also it's going to be, some of this is going to be, do some conferences play and some don't. But the combine's going to matter more. I think if you crunch numbers, that might matter more. And even if they do play games, there's not going to be scouts hanging out,
right,
watching games live, getting to know guys. And I think sometimes they like to watch guys warm up, and they like to watch how they interact with their teammates on the bench. And that's great. I think some of that's overdone sometimes too. So I think in the end, it'll probably be about the same, which is the smart teams do better and the dumb teams do worse.
You mean it's not like draft day where they care if the kid invited his friend to a 21st birthday?
I mean, I'm not saying that doesn't matter at all, but, it doesn't matter as much as the guy can throw a 15-yard out,
Exactly. All right, we're coming back one more time with Doug Lesmerises. You have the voicemail of Truth and Reason. And if you'd like to call us sometime that is not when the show is on, you can do that by using that special number, 216-2600. 6650 is the number to call. Call anytime, and we'll use the messages on the show. Pretty easy to do. We are powered by cleveland.com. We'll return in a moment with Doug Lesmerises. More sports and Les Levine into its 25th consecutive year.
Wow, Get Nature Stone and never replace your garage flooring again. Act now for huge summer savings on our exclusive Nature's Blend stone, as low as $2.99 a square foot plus installation. Only Nature Stone eliminates cracked, uneven concrete, and Nature Stone never peels like cheap paints and coatings. Safe, beautiful garage flooring that's always backed by Russell's Promise, our true unconditional warranty. Schedule your free cost estimate easily online today at naturestone.com. It's not just a floor.
Wow, it's Nature Stone.
There are tastes we remember. Every smell brings the happiness of times gone by. Experience this every time you walk into Gallucci's Italian Foods. Whether you need lunch on the go, a catered party, or that perfect blend of wine, meats, and cheeses, Gallucci's has exactly what you're looking for. Straight from Mama's kitchen for old world traditions or original experiences. From the tastes you remember to new flavors you'll never forget. Gallucci's is a tasty branch of your family tree.
The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education program recognizes role model students and teachers from across Ohio. Nominations can now be done completely online. To nominate a deserving teacher or student, go to ohiolottery.com. In the About section, find Partners in Education. There you will find links to the nomination forms. Students kindergarten through 12th grade can be academic all-stars. Teachers can be honored as a Teacher of the Month. The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education, where stars shine.
Doug Lesmerises does a great job every time he's with us, as he did tonight. Tomorrow night we'll have Bud Shaw. Wednesday, the D-Man, Dennis Maniloff, and then Thursday, Mary Kay Cabot joins us here on the show. Doug, project yourself. Well, let's say this. Here's a how come quickie. How come every phone call you make is answered by somebody who says all of our options have changed? That happen to you?
That does happen to me. I'm glad it's not only.
It happens to everybody.
Yeah.
There is no phone that has been in installation for more than a week. Anyway, let's project yourself 3-4 weeks down the road. College football, what do we have?
Oh, boy. I think the Big Ten's still canceled. I think it's possible that everybody's canceled. University of North Carolina started on-campus classes this week, and they already bagged it. They are going to online-only classes, and they've stopped football practice. We are seeing students returning to campus. Ohio State students are returning to campus. I think classes start next Monday for them. Michigan starts going back next week. Penn State goes back soon. I mean, everybody's going back soon. And that's a different animal. And then they would have to make the decision if they find out they can't do in-person classes because it doesn't go well and there's too much virus spread, then can you somehow keep football going on campus if you're sending students home?
No, but waiting for football to come on or not come on gave both sides more opportunity to figure it out, and they didn't take advantage of it.
Right. So, I mean, but part of this is that not everything that is going to happen has happened yet. So the college football teams are still pretty early in the contact in practice. The Big Ten never got to that point. They're early in students returning. Notre Dame saw coronavirus positivity numbers go up in the first couple of weeks they had students back. So a lot of it with the Big Ten, I don't know what's going to happen, but I know that the things that are happening now are going to decide what happens. And if they can keep students on campus and the virus doesn't go crazy, then maybe they can play football. If they can have contact practice and the virus doesn't go crazy, then they can play football. But we don't know either of those things are going to be true, and we're going to find out soon.
All right, Doug, as always, thanks for a great job coming on the show. We'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, Les. Good to be here.
Good. Thank you, Doug Lesmerises. All right, that'll do it for us. We'll see you tomorrow night. Bud Shaw with us. D-Man Dennis Maniloff on Wednesday. Mary Kay Cabot on Thursday. Of all the shows I've ever done, this was the most recent.